are all unique and have our own personal story. So dive in with me and let's get to know some extraordinary people. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. I have a special bonus episode today featuring my very own Valentine, David Riter. We have fun diving in, talking about parenthood, pop culture, and hobbies. I hope you enjoy the episode. I don't go political on my podcast.
No, but he would.
Very often. Sometimes, but not really. When I talk anything politics, it's very general. I don't push my agenda. You know?
Because you're not going to convince anybody.
Exactly.
Like I said in the last episode.
Yeah,
like,
and we could talk about that again.
The treasure nuts about your family. You're not going to convince each other. Like, it's not going to happen. Why don't you shut that door?
Want me to shut the door, Jeff? Okay.
I'm going to tell these two.
But you always say that you're not informed, but you actually are informed.
I'm superficially informed. Like, I browse headlines, I read it. Like, I don't read the whole article. I read enough. I'm like, yeah, okay, it doesn't interest me. I know enough, but not enough to make a valid opinion or informed enough to argue with somebody because it's all superficial, it's all surface. So, I'm a poser.
Okay, so you might not be as informed with politics, but what are you informed in? What do you feel like you are an expert in?
I don't know. I feel like I'm more of a jack of all trades, master of none. Because, like, I know enough to sound like I know what I'm talking about, but let's say if you were to dive in further, I probably wouldn't be able to provide you with some facts or details or anything like that.
On any particular topic?
I don't know.
How about soccer?
I mean, I could, but there's so much into soccer, like why certain formations work against certain teams or how you want to play against this kind of attacker or anything like that. I more just like to watch it. Like, I listen to different podcasts. I watch shows where they're commentating like, oh, you should. I don't get why they're doing a 4-3-2-1 or something to that nature because I don't want to. I should know those details, but at the same time, like, it might ruin the illusion or the magic of the game if you dissect it too much. Or with football, depending on the kind of defense you're running, how the offense should be playing, or how the offense is running, the defense can either be in a nickel or dime, or vice versa. I don't know all the ins and outs and the importance of running different kind of defenses. Again, it's all surface. I just enjoy it. I feel like that I don't want to get too far into it or too into the weeds. Or I have friends.
Soccer or just anything?
Maybe just sports. Like, I have friends when they do a fantasy football, they will research every possible player they could draft. I'm like, that's too much time. They print out stats. Like, this running back can do this, this, and this. I don't have time for that. I'd rather just draft people I know their name. And then, okay, I know who this person is. I'm going to draft him. He did okay last year, so.
There is one thing that I would say you're an expert in.
What is that?
The Simpsons.
I don't know. Well, I would say I'm a mid-level expert of certain episodes, yeah.
All right, babe, are you ready to dive in with me?
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm excited.
In honor of Valentine's Day, I had to have my number one come on. And that would be you.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
My favorite person ever. What do you want to dive in and talk about?
Whatever you want. This is your format, your podcast. I'm just here to help you.
Okay, Davey.
Okay.
So I feel like I just asked you a question on The Simpsons, so we just need to dive into that quick.
Let's do it.
Why The Simpsons, and how far back does your love or fascination with The Simpsons go?
I can first remember watching The Simpsons. I believe it was when we were in Littleton, Colorado. Like, just sitting around watching on a Sunday. I can't remember which episode or anything like that. But, yeah, I just remember watching as a family, all of us watching it, even though my mom claims she hates it. She was there too, more probably just to be with the family. But I remember Millie was really young. My younger sister Millie was really young. My older sister Annie was there. My dad was there. And we just watched it. I can't recall what it was, but I remember us all just being on the couch watching it. This might be a fake memory of something that I just assumed we did because we all like The Simpsons, but I recall that memory. Or
No,
I might have made up that memory, but I remember watching Simpsons as a young kid.
I doubt you made that memory up.
No, it's either New Mexico or Colorado. I'm pretty
And
sure
when you think back on that, it could just be a combination of so many times you've been sitting down together and just a collection of all those times. And
yeah.
Would you say that's one of your first memories with your family?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say it's one of my first memories of being with the families, sitting around The Simpsons. Probably why our whole family loves The Simpsons.
I like that. I like that you all love it. And you're always referencing Simpsons quotes, Simpsons episode. And I'm always so impressed where we'll just be at a family dinner or just over visiting with the family. And we'll talk about any topic, just right in the moment. But then it always seems to tie back to a Simpsons episode. Or I just feel like there's always a reference to The Simpsons in conversations with your family. Now, I'll be honest, I don't get it, and I'm like a deer in headlights half the time, but it's endearing to me, and I'll chuckle sometimes,
But have
even
you
though I
ever
don't get it.
tried to get into it?
I've watched a couple episodes with you.
Yeah, I think if you were to sit down and watch it, what we should do, and we'll do it with the girls, we'll watch it from the very first episode, season 1, and up to season 10, because I don't like anything after season 10. But I think you would figure out, like, okay, this is actually funny. It's clever. There's a lot of hidden jokes in there. And I think you would slowly become a Simpsons fan. Maybe not the scale or size of the writers, but we would start the process of you becoming one. And then,
You know what? I would totally be up for that because you know me. If I'm going to watch a show, I'm dedicated. I can't just start in the middle of a season. I can't just start at like season 4 or 5 of a show. If I'm going to watch a show, I have to start with episode 1, season 1, and I am loyal and I carry it through. So I will do that.
so then I
I'll
think
do that with you.
it would help when we're at dinners or at family gatherings. You wouldn't be a deer in headlights. You'd be like, okay.
And I never
I get
feel
the reference.
Got it. I never feel sad or left out. I actually find it endearing. I like when you guys are always talking about your Simpsons. I just like that you guys have that. That's just kind of created a family bond. And I like all your inside jokes. So you know what, babe? Challenge accepted. We're going to start. Here's the deal. You said we're going to watch it with our kids.
Yeah.
Are all Simpsons from seasons 1 through 10 appropriate for kids? Because our girls already watch a lot of Simpsons with you.
I would say yes,
and
because
I'm asking this genuinely. I don't know.
I mean, you got to think the humor back then.
Our girls are 4 and 7.
The humor back then was so mild compared to the humor now. So anything season 1 through 10, you got to think it started in the 80s when everything was a little more PC, conservative, everything PG. Like that. Yeah. Now I watch a joke that the Simpsons make, and it's cruder because they had to keep up with how the humor, like how South Park kind of pushed the envelope, Family Guy pushed the envelope, or us as people were like, okay, we need that more shock value humor, where the first 10 seasons are a little more mild. There might be some things
that would probably just go over our girls' heads.
It'd go over their head. Like when we watch it, I will know, like, okay, we're not going to watch this episode. Or now I'm rewatching Futurama, who was done by the creator of The Simpsons, and that is a little more, I guess you could say, risque. And I know I've seen those episodes so many times. If I'm watching with the girls, I know to fast forward an episode,
right?
So they don't watch it, so they're not gonna be like, "What was that about?" So, but the Simpsons are safe; they're fine.
Okay, that just made me laugh because the other day you were gone, you were still at work, and Cece got home from school, and they were having a snack, and I told them they could watch a show before she did her homework. She gets the remote, and she and Letty were so giddy. She said, "Oh, there's a new Simpsons or a new episode of Bob's Burgers," and they were totally gonna go for it. I said, "Whoa! That's when you have to watch with Dad because he filters that and edits out which ones are appropriate for you." But it was just funny. I just kind of was in the kitchen chuckling over hearing them. Oh, we got a new episode of Bob's Burgers.
See, that makes me proud, especially because Bob's Burgers, I would say that's real subtle humor that they're not going to understand.
Yeah.
And it's very clever, and if the jokes are dirty, they're clever, they're kind of hidden, or they're kind of, you can consider them throwaway jokes. So I think those are Bob's Burgers is fine for the kids to watch. It might not win me parent of the year, but it's a good bonding experience for us to watch.
And you know what? If that's your thing with the girls and you do what you feel is appropriate, I'm cool with that. So I have never been one that's super into cartoons or animation. You know that. When we first got married, I wouldn't watch anything animated. Maybe a Disney movie. You know, I loved Robin Hood and Little Mermaid and some of the classics growing up. But I wasn't a huge cartoon viewer, whereas you were, and that's you guys watched a lot of that stuff growing up. But I've learned to love that with you. And my all-time favorite that I can credit to you is American Dad. Yeah. I like American Dad. And that's kind of become our thing. And after the kid, that's one we don't watch with the kids, but that's just a fun one.
New episodes start this week or next on the 11th.
But you know what? I've always said that is one of the shows that I've just kind of jumped in and watched. When you're watching it, I'll jump in and enjoy an episode. That's when I should start from season 1. Pop culture. Let's talk about that.
Okay, let's do it.
I feel like your family's very woke. That's more
to borrow a word from Rachel, woke.
Woke. But anyway, pop culture. Your family, one of the many things I do love about your family, there's always a text string conversation going on with the Riter family. And I'm talking multiple texts a day. I do have to put it on the setting of, what is the setting where you don't get the alerts?
You turn off notifications?
Yes.
I do that with my soccer group text also.
Okay. So I turn off the notifications. I still want to receive them, but when I'm sitting in a meeting or a conference call, it's like every 2 seconds because you just don't know when these texts are going to come up. Yeah. And I would say some days I'll get like 30 texts from the Riter family, which is fun and it's entertaining and I enjoy going back and reading them. But anyway, those texts are full of a lot of Simpsons references, as mentioned before, a lot of memes, but just a lot of references to pop culture. Where did the Riter family, where do you think your love and appreciation for pop culture stem from? I mean, I feel like it's just gone back to the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's all pop culture because maybe my parents aren't as woke as we are, you could say, so they might not get some of the jokes. But I would say if it's anything, especially Simpsons related, Star Wars related, even anything kind of in that vein we'd usually make jokes on. I don't know. We've always been a family that is into that stuff. I don't know what it stems from because I don't know if my parents were into that when they were young. They like pop culture. I know my dad was a Star Wars fan when he grew up. But yeah, I don't know where we got that from. I imagine it's just because it's funny and
entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's funny. We like funny things. And I'm glad that we haven't scared you, Landon, or Jared off.
No, I love it. One of the first things that I just really found endearing about your family, one of the first times I was at your family's house when we were still dating, going upstairs into your TV room. Yeah. And on the walls are all these posters. Think back when you go to like Disneyland or Universal Studios, you take a family photo and then they put your names into like Simpsons caricatures or Star Wars or Indiana Jones. But you know what I'm talking about? You go and you take these pictures and you get these posters, right, with your faces in them. Yeah. But all the themed posters. But I love going to your house and upstairs in your family room. You have a ton of those posters, like an Indiana Jones one with your faces.
My dad's Han Solo, my dad's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Nate, some other character. And Rachel's, I think, might be one. Millie's Princess Leia. Yeah.
But it's just fascinating to me to see how different families are. Okay, let's talk about our families are super different in so many ways, but I feel like we do have a few similarities, but for the most part, we're very different. Your parents are a lot younger than my parents. You're the second oldest of 5. I'm the 6th of 7. So there's just a big age gap there. In fact, we were thinking, I think my oldest brother's only maybe 10 years younger than your mom, if even.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Actually, less than 10 years. I think my oldest brother is less than 10 years younger than your mom. So just to kind of paint the picture, but just completely different families. But for example, growing up, I don't think I ever had a poster. Like our family ever had a poster of like we'd go to amusement parks and we'd do these things, but we wouldn't come home with posters. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I love that that's something that you guys have just embraced, and that's just something that you guys do. When we go to Disneyland, your dad is the one that he buys the photo pass and we get all the stage, the photos. It's just a lot of fun. In fact, we're going to Disneyland with your parents tomorrow.
Yeah,
heading over there tonight. So, but yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I would say, and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way, but I feel like your family is just a little more young at heart and playful. Not saying that my family wasn't playful, because we certainly were. It just a little bit of a different dynamic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not coming across negative, right? Because I'm okay. Did you have a good childhood?
I did. I enjoyed it. We moved around a lot. I lived in all the Four Corner states a few times. I didn't mind it. Yeah, I had a good childhood. My parents were very involved. We played sports. Yeah, I had a good childhood.
Okay, talk to me about your dad, because you always say, and parents are different, right? And the way they express love to you. And something that you always talk to me about is the way in which your dad expressed his love for you. How? What was...
Oh, so I wouldn't say my dad's the most loving person.
In terms of like lovey-dovey, cuddle,
yeah,
hugs.
He wasn't very, I wouldn't say he wasn't very affectionate. I don't remember him saying like, I love you a lot. Maybe just because he was my dad, I'm the son. Maybe we didn't have like a type of relationship. I don't know if he said that to my sisters a lot either, but when he didn't say I love you, he would do other things. He was always the coach of our sports teams. If we had like high school games or anything like that, and he was out of town, he would rearrange his schedule in order to make it to those games.
He traveled a lot for work.
Yeah. So he would fly home early, fly home late, leave late, whatever it would be, in order to watch the games. Any of our siblings, any of my siblings. I didn't really realize that was his way of showing love until I left the house and I was on my way to Argentina. That it kind of dawned on me like, oh, this is how he shows his love. Also because when he was growing up, his house was probably not that affectionate from what I understand of his upbringing.
Right. It's interesting. Why were you going to Argentina?
I went to Argentina to serve a mission for my church. I was in the mission Bahia Blanca.
Tell us what your dad told you about coming home in a body bag.
He said, you can't come home. The only way you can come home is if you're in a body bag.
Meaning you can't come home until you complete your mission.
Complete my mission or I die.
So basically, there was no option of you going on a mission and calling it quits early.
I had to tough it out, which, was a good thing because I feel like a lot of people nowadays, if it gets tough, they quit. But I remember being there in the first 6 weeks, I don't speak the language. My companion was I had a good companion, but I didn't speak the language. I didn't know what I was doing. Our apartment we lived in had mold. My suits got mold on it. And I kept thinking, if I break my leg, can I get sent home? If I fall and break my arm, if I do this, am I able to get sent home?
How long was your mission?
2 years.
Fast 2 years or slow 2 years?
Depended on my companion and depended on the area I was in. But looking back now, I went by fast. I think about it a lot. I'm glad I went to Argentina, even though they've let me down the past few soccer tournaments they've been in, especially since I lost to Chile in 2 of them. But we'll get to that later. But I enjoyed it. It went by fast.
Let's get to that later because that's some good stuff.
No, it's not.
So it did go by fast overall?
Yeah, overall. And I learned to appreciate meat more than I did. I didn't eat a lot of meat before I left my mission, and now it's one of my favorite things I eat.
Because you got some good beef in Argentina. They're known for good beef. What was a typical day like for you as a missionary?
Wake up, study, leave, try to teach people, come home for lunch, and the whole country of Argentina shuts down for the siesta. So from 11 to 2, you can't do anything because if you wake people up, they're going to get mad. So we'd eat lunch, study a little bit, and I would take like an hour nap each day and then wake up from my nap and go out and proselyte the rest of the day. So
that's a hard thing. I mean, you were young. How old were you? 19?
I was 19.
First time really living outside of the house. Do you feel like you grew up a lot in those 2 years?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I grew up a little bit. I'm still pretty dumb when I got back. You got to think 19 to 21, you're still a dumb kid.
Do you feel like you've grown up more in the past 10 years that we've been married?
Yeah, I guess you've done a pretty good job helping me grow up. But I like to think that we've improved each other over these past 10 years.
I would have to agree. But, and I don't want you to, I hope I'm not going to offend you by this comment, but you are very much a kid at heart. You're also very mature, don't get me wrong, and you work full time and you provide for your family and you're a great dad, but you're a kid at heart. And I like that. What I like is that you have carried things that were dear to you or just very prominent in your childhood, just an important piece of you in your childhood. Yeah. You carried those into adulthood, and it's been fun to see that. And then you're introducing our girls to some of these things. For example, Legos. Okay. Let's talk about hobbies because you love hobbies. One of them, Legos.
Yes.
Let's dive in, lover.
Okay. What do you want to know about Legos?
Okay. You have loved Legos since you were a kid.
Yep.
Do you remember your first Lego set you ever received? Or what's one of your earliest memories of a Lego?
Earliest memories of a Lego, I know it was a space one. Again, it was in Colorado. I guess that's when I really started remembering things. I was in Colorado. I think that was second grade. I think it was one of my siblings' birthdays, either Millie or Annie's. For some reason, I got a Lego present because I guess my parents didn't want us to feel bad. So I got a present. It was a small little, probably $5, $10 set. It was a space one. It had like neon see-through like parts to it because that was like how you could define if it was space. That was probably my first set I remember, but I'm assuming I got other sets before then. Mm-hmm. But that's the first one I can remember, and it just has grown since then. It did stall out a little bit while I was in high school until probably about 6-7 years ago, but it's always kind of been there. I was always looking at Legos whenever we'd go to the store, and it's just amazing to see how much they progressed since then, because when I was a kid, they were kind of more blocky or not as sophisticated, you could say, to what they are now, where, I had the Disney World castle, I had the Simpsons house. It's amazing how much they've gotten better, the molds have gotten better, the details have gotten better.
So what is it about Lego? Like, what is it about Lego that you enjoy, other than the details?
I would say I like just to one of my favorite things are to put on music or a podcast, empty out all the bags so all the pieces are on there, and just follow the instructions.
So you like to build sets, right?
Yeah.
Versus you don't do free build.
No, I don't have the time to do free build. I don't want to think about it. So I like to just put on music, or like I said, put on music or a podcast to kind of zone out. Because at work, you have to make decisions all day. When I'm at home, I have to raise kids. I have to make decisions. I have to, like I said, when I'm at work, make decisions that can either have a huge financial impact, or there can be repercussions if something's not done right, and that kind of all that pressure. So when you're building Lego and you're kind of told what to do, it's kind of relaxing. Like, okay, this piece goes here, this piece goes here, this piece goes there. And also, like I said, mentioned earlier, the way the creators are building the Legos, the techniques they use are pretty neat. Like some of the sets I have, they're pretty sophisticated. Like, oh, I would have never thought to use these pieces to get that design. So I like kind of with the newer sets being able to, okay, this set is different because of this. This has value to me because it's a new technique. And again, I just kind of like following the instructions to get the end result, because the end result is what I want.
So this is essentially, it's a release for you.
Yeah.
It's a way to just
zone out,
yeah. Just a release from your responsibilities. That's interesting. And see, you and I are a lot alike in some ways, but we're opposites in a lot of ways. Yeah. One of my releases is I love just to go to the movies by myself. That's like, to me, that is truly zoning out.
And I thought that was so weird when we first got married, but then I did it and I was like, I get it.
You get it.
This is kind of nice.
But here's the deal, Davey. We've been married for 10 years. We have a playroom full of like Legos displayed and some really impressive sets. I have never assembled a Lego. Not one set. Not even one of our little girls' sets. I've never done that. So you tried going to a movie by yourself. I should try to do a Lego.
I feel like I'm a failure as a husband. If we've been married 10 years, you've never built a Lego. You're not a real Simpsons fan. I mean, when we were dating, I read The Kite Runner because you liked it. So, I mean, I think you need to step your game up.
I think you're right.
You know
what, Davey? That's
I indulge into your
You
things.
do. You really do. That is a very good point. And it's fair and challenge accepted. Okay.
But I love you regardless.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, with the Legos, do you want our girls to be into Legos? And do you enjoy when they come? Because I know a lot of times you get these really complex sets, and we know it's your release, and you're there by yourself. You have everything all set up, and then the girls come and they want to be right next to you and build. Is that frustrating, or do you find that endearing?
It's a little bit of both. Like I said, I like to build because it's kind of a release. I don't have to focus. And I like to get kind of the pieces organized by color. That way when I have to find it, it's easier to find. And when they're with me, it's nice because I want to spend time with them. But at the same time, it impedes the process I want to go at or the pace I want to go at. Because typically I like to build the bigger sets that take more time to build. I'm not going to build it all in one go. It's going to take me a few days. I like to space it out. So I like when they're by me, but at the same time, it can slow my roll. But I'm not going to tell them to go away because then they won't want to be in the Legos. They're going to have a bad, Legos, that's what Dad likes to do by himself. So I would love them to be into it because then I can expand my my collection and I can tell them, hey, don't you really want this set? And then I'll use it for my own gains. So I will influence them to get things they might not want when secretly I want. So short answer, yes, I like when they're with me.
And that's being a good father, Davey, because,
yeah,
you just want to get in the zone and do your thing and you need your release. And a lot of times you're doing the Legos to just escape from reality, right? Yeah. And responsibilities of working, being a dad. But you're the best dad because you will let them in and you'll let them be right next to you. And I'll tell you, they love it. They feel proud whenever they're there. So,
but at the same time, they have attention span of a fly. So they'll build for like 10 minutes and they'll leave. So it's also kind of nice.
How about the Lego movies? Don't be like the antagonist in the Lego movie.
No, I don't want them playing with the sets I have displayed. And I always tell them you got to be careful when you're in the playroom. But I'm unlike President Business in the Lego movie because I had a new set. I had to rearrange our shelves, and I have a Ferris wheel that is motorized. You press a button and it spins. It's really neat. But I put it on the ground because I was moving things. I think either Cece or Letty ran into it.
It was Cece. So this is a good story. So I want to paint a little picture. Let's give it little details. So you built this Lego Ferris wheel, okay? Really big Ferris wheel. How many pieces and how long did it take you to build this? Because I want to paint the picture.
2,000 pieces. Probably took me, like I said, I like to space it out, so probably 2 or 3 days.
And this Ferris wheel is probably 2 feet high, maybe, roughly.
Yeah,
it is a big Lego set. Okay, so back we're in the office. You're rearranging things because you've built new Lego sets, so we've got to arrange. Okay, I'll let you pick it up. So
then I had it on one shelf. I wanted to move to the other shelf because I also got a carousel and I kind of wanted them to be together. I like to keep my themes together. I don't want to have...
You're very organized and neat.
I don't want to have a mishmash of like Star Wars can't be with Harry Potter stuff. My modulars can't be with the Lego Creator cars. Everything has a place.
Okay.
So I was moving it. I put it on the ground, which is dumb on my part. I should just put it where I wanted to put it. But I would put it on the ground while I was moving another one.
The girls are in there with us.
The girls are with us. We're all kind of just in there. It's a family, good family activity. And one of the girls, Letty backs into it and just kind of breaks it. And I didn't react. I was just
surprisingly calm. Let's talk about Cece's reaction.
I can't remember.
Can I tell you what Cece's reaction was? So Letty backs into this and it just crumbles. Not the whole thing, but a good chunk.
And I have yet to rebuild it because I haven't had time, which is ridiculous on my part.
Which we will have to post a picture of this. But the second it happens, Cece's in there. And the girls know how serious these Legos are to you, especially these special sets you build. And Cece says, holy I caught myself. She was going to cuss. And then she said, I caught myself because she knows she shouldn't. But she had a little bit of her mom in there. And that was the initial reaction was like, holy shit. but she caught herself and didn't say it. We were so proud of her. But I was proud of Cece for not cussing, and I was proud of you for not freaking out, because I probably would have lost my, you know what.
I don't think it would have been fair for me to freak out because I'm the one that placed it on the ground.
Yes.
And it would have been very hypocritical. I'm like, why did you break this? Because it was clearly my fault for putting it there. Now, different story.
You did say that during the time, because I remember being really impressed with your.
No, it'd be a different story if it's on the shelf and they throw a ball or they get up on a ladder and they break it somehow like that.
Yes.
Different story because they know not to do that. But it was my fault. I put it on the ground. I should have known better, or I should have warned them, don't come buy this. So it would not have been fair to them for me to get mad at them for my stupidity. You know what I mean?
You need to rebuild this, babe.
I will.
Okay, I do have to tell you this. When you first, so I knew you just always liked Legos and it was fun for you. At first I used to think, okay, this is kind of silly. You were a grown professional man. You're a dad. Why in the hell are you buying and building Legos? Like I did have those thoughts initially, okay? But then I grew to appreciate it. I was like, oh my gosh. And when people come to our house for the first time, I'm usually the proud wife or woman that takes them into the playroom and says, hey, you got to check out all these Legos. And people are just like, whoa, I've got to bring so-and-so to come check this out. I've got to get so-and-so in here. But I have learned to really appreciate this. Okay, let's talk about something that always kind of makes me laugh. One of your little side hustles, not really your side hustle, but a seasonal job that you had one year.
So I think it was about 2 years ago.
No, it's been more than that.
3 years ago?
Probably 3 or 4. I don't know.
I can't remember.
Anyway, go on.
Well, Lego announced they were releasing the Ghostbuster Firehouse. And my family were huge pop culture fans. We reference that a lot. A lot of good jokes in that movie. So, and I already had the Ecto 1, which is the car from Ghostbusters. So I had that on display. So I'm like, I need the Firehouse. But when they released it, the price tag was like, it's a little steep for I'm willing to pay out of pocket.
How much for that? Because if I recall correctly, that was just one of the many Lego sets you wanted. But how much was this Firehouse set?
Less than 400, more than 300.
Okay, so 300.
I think it was 375.
So not quite as expensive as the $800 Star Wars.
Not as expensive as the new Millennium Falcon,
which he did buy. Okay, spoiler alert. Okay, carry on.
So I have that, or I wanted that, but I was like, I can't finesse this. I can't. There's no way.
You couldn't stomach dropping $350 on a Lego set.
And there's no way you would be like, okay, yeah, let's just drop that money on that. So there's no way. So I went to the Lego store to buy like a seasonal item. That was every holiday they have little seasonal sets. So I like to display all of them for Valentine's Day, Christmas, whatever you have you. And I was talking to one of the employees. I'm like, hey, do you ever think this set would go on sale? Just kind of gonna vie for if they Lego would ever put on sale, because they're notorious for not putting these kind of sets on sale. Mm-hmm. She's like, no, but if you want, you could always just apply to get a seasonal job. I was like, you know what? That's never occurred to me. Because I know they get seasonal employees, I think, get 25% off all sets.
Oh, that's
or 35 seasonal. Seasonal employees get 35% off. I was like, you know what? I'll get a seasonal job. I'll get the discount, and anything I earn from the Lego store will pretty much just go back into the company. So they're not really losing money on me hiring me. So I got the job, and once it came out, I used the discount, and I passed the seasonal part of it. I was brought on full time. Mind you, I still have a full time job and a family, so I would work my 8 hours at my other job,
which you had to get permission from your other job to work at Lego. Yeah. I won't say where you work, because they manage a lot of the finances for Lego. Don't they manage some of their accounts?
No,
because you had to get some approval. Anyway, carry on.
A conflict of interest.
Okay.
So I'd work my 8 hours, and I'd have to go to the Chandler Mall to work at the Lego store. And after I got brought on full time, I got 50% off of all Lego sets. So that's when my collection really started to increase, because, you can get a $300 set, 50% off. You're only paying $150. That's a pretty good deal. So again, all my money either went towards Lego, or I paid for like soccer or certain things like that, or I'd buy a watch because I also like to collect watches. So, I'm a very pathetic human because I like to spend my money on that.
You're definitely the shopper, but I have to say, I think it kind of confused some of our nieces and nephews, and I think especially some of the nephews that really liked Lego, because I've had a few of them ask me, even just this year or this past year, hey, does Uncle Davey, he works at the Lego store, right? Or does he still work at the Lego store? But I think that they really thought that that was your full-time job, that you were a Lego employee, which, hey, you know what I think you should do? I think you should work for Lego corporate at one point.
Yeah.
In their finance department, or you're so creative
or just operations
and clever. Yeah, you could. I think one day you should really actually work for Lego, something to look into.
I'd love to go move to Denmark.
You know what I think you need to do as well is, I've been pushing you to do this, is you collect all of the Lego minifigure series. You have since they came out, and you have every stinking Lego minifigure that has been released.
The collectible mini. Not every minifigure has been released. The collectible minifigure series.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification, love.
Because there's no way I could collect every minifigure.
I still think you need to create a YouTube channel and do some of these videos for kids and a Lego podcast. Because Lego, a lot of people love Legos. Hey, let's be real. It's not even just kids that love Legos. Case in point right here.
I would say the majority of is adults that like Legos.
But seriously, a lot of adults, grown men and women, love Legos. So babe, I'm putting you on the spot here, and I'm giving you one of my challenges. You need to start a YouTube channel and a Lego podcast. And you just start thinking through what you want it to be around, but you are very creative. You've got a great imagination. And you're just fun, and you're a kid at heart, and I mean that with all respect. That is not an insult, but you would be great at it, and I think you would have a great audience. So, do you accept my challenge? I'm not giving you a deadline, but I want you to start taking the thought seriously and doing it, because you'd have fun with it.
I will reluctantly accept your challenge, and I will think of things to do when I get my next break from school.
Okay. All right. So, talking about creativity, imagination, and just your family's love for pop culture and Star Wars and just a lot of fun things. Talk to me about your favorite book series. And this is where you may feel that you failed as a husband again.
I would say this is up there. So the 3 ways I failed: you don't know enough about The Simpsons, you've never built a Lego set, and you have never read the Harry Potter books. You say you watch the movies, which I don't count as being a true Harry Potter fan. So my favorite book series is the Harry Potter series, book 1 through 7. I've also read the Cursed Child play. It's okay. I don't consider it in the canon of Harry Potter, but that is my favorite book series.
Okay. How often do you read Harry Potter, the entire series?
I read the entire series. I try to read the entire series every 2 years.
Okay, Davey, I'm going to give myself a challenge, okay? When you start up the series, all 7 books,
okay,
I think you have like in a year and a half, you'll be starting this up again.
No, I'll start it when
I'm going to give myself a challenge. I am going to read all 7 books alongside with you.
Is it going to be like the time you said you liked listen to the audiobook?
No.
Or are you actually going to read it? There's a big difference. You already got my hopes up with that one.
No. I am going to read them, not listen to them. I am going to read all 7 books with you when you start up again. I am issuing myself that challenge.
So this is what, then as a reward for me having you read them, we're going to go to Orlando and go to Universal Studios.
Okay.
And then you're going to go to the theme park, and you're going to have such a better experience because you understand that world.
And then I'll dress up as Hermione, and you can dress up as Harry.
They don't get together.
Oh, well, whatever. See, and I haven't not read them, and it's been forever since I've seen.
It'd be Hermione and Ron, or Harry and Ginny.
I'll let you pick, babe.
I'll think about it.
Okay, but you know what? We should really think about doing this seriously as a family, because by then Cece will be over 8, and wouldn't you agree that that's a good age for her to start reading them?
Yeah, I think so. Or listening to us read to her.
Okay, we're going to make it a family challenge. Okay. Harry Potter, we will come for you. 2020.
Yeah. Drink that butterbeer.
Okay. Butterbeer. Yum, yum, yum. Okay. What?
It was funny.
So I know you don't like me to sing your praises because it makes you feel uncomfortable and awkward.
I'm feeling it right now, yeah.
Okay, then I won't say it.
When you said how creative I was like, don't talk about that.
Okay, Davey, why? Let's talk about why you don't like me singing your praises and
I don't
talking
like when
you up.
attention's on me. Like, it was just my birthday. I told my manager at work, I'm like, I don't want people knowing when my birthday is.
But why is it that what do you think it is that just makes you not want the extra attention?
I don't know. It's like, I won't wear certain colors. Like, I won't wear a bright red shirt because I think it's going to draw attention to myself. I don't know. I'd rather be in the shadows or be in a crowd than being the center of attention. I don't like it. That's why I will never let you throw me a surprise birthday party, because that sounds like the worst thing in the world.
What if I ever did throw you a surprise birthday party?
I would open it, get yelled surprise, and I'd leave.
Would you really leave?
Yeah. That sounds terrible to me. And I don't want my personal life and people that...
Your work and your professional. Your professional and your personal life, you don't like to mix. I don't need those to mix. That sounds terrible to me. It's like separation of church and state. There needs to be that divider. And again, I don't want that attention on me. That sounds terrible. Okay.
For everyone to be there for one purpose, to see me. No, thank you.
Okay.
That sounds, no.
I don't think you would leave. The reason why.
Let's test it.
You would probably, okay. You just gave me permission to throw you a surprise birthday party.
I take that back. Let's never test it.
Here's the deal. And again, I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable here. But you know what, babe? It's my podcast, so You just got a deal. You are the nicest guy. You really are a very nice guy. You have a great heart. You would probably be pissed at me inside and upset for probably the first 5 minutes. But then
I would say longer than 5 minutes.
I don't know.
You know why? Because I'd come in, they'd yell surprise. I'd turn beet red, and I hate when I get beet red because I get sweaty and I overthink it. I think, they're looking at me. I turn red. Then I think about, I'm turning red. I get redder. I get sweatier. No, I don't want any of that. That sounds terrible.
But at the end of the day,
I think I'm turning red thinking about it.
You're not.
No, I don't want that at all.
Okay, so I will never throw you a surprise birthday party, but you would stay because that's the kind of person you are. And you would be upset at first, but then you would go in and you would be mingling with all your friends and family. And I think you would enjoy it in the end. But here's the deal. I respect your wishes, and I don't ever want you to feel uncomfortable or be put in that situation if I could help it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I love you. And like I told you, I don't even want a funeral because it's essentially the same thing. I don't want people showing up and talking about, he was so great. I don't want all that attention on me, even when I'm dead. So that's why I'm like, just have a party.
Then you got to put that in our trust, and you got to put very detailed direction. Actually, babe, let's be real. I'm older than you, so I'll be gone before you. So you don't have to worry about that. Women live longer. But if you remarry, you need to just put that in the trust.
But yeah. I don't want a funeral. I don't need people talking about me because, again, it's all the good things I did in my life. I mean, I'm not perfect. There's been a lot of shit I've done that isn't so good. So I don't want people being like, he was so great, blah, 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 blah. Like at my grandpa's funeral, they spoke so highly of him, and I don't have many good memories of my grandpa.
Okay.
So
we have to talk about your grandpa's funeral quick. Can you just tell this story about your grandpa's funeral? You know which story I'm referring to. So you don't like attention on you, period, okay?
Yeah.
So has to be like, you don't like your grandpa so much. It's his funeral.
It's not that I don't like him. I just don't have good memories of him.
Okay, that's a good
stem from how he was raised and how he raised my dad and all the stories I heard. And he wasn't
the most loving.
What a grandpa should have been to his grandkids. I'll say that.
Okay, so really quickly, tell me about your last time you encounter with your grandpa, and then we're going to jump to the funeral story.
So one of my last memories of my grandpa,